Mom! Hey, Mom! Wake up!
I was jolted awake by the sound of my daughter's urgent voice. I opened my eyes to see her looking anxious. What? What's wrong, sweetheart?
Mom, please, I'm begging you, divorce Dad right now.
What? I was wide awake now. What did she just say? Divorce Dad? Yes, she definitely said that. Gathering myself, I asked her gently, Why? Why would you say something like that?
Well, it's because...
The revelation that poured out of my daughter's mouth left me in shock. I'm Erica, a 34-year-old woman who works tirelessly as an insurance salesperson for a large company. I can't afford to put in extra hours at work since I have to ferry my daughter to and from daycare, meaning I need to cram as much as work as possible between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. This has been my routine for over a decade, even before I got hitched. Throughout this time, I've built a commendable career and have risen to a position of respect. The fact that I'm a married woman with a child is no excuse for slacking off. Why do I push myself so hard? The answer lies in my daughter, Sarah. Sarah celebrated her 5th birthday not long ago. She's an innocent, bright little girl. Sometimes her quick wit and maturity make me question if she really is ours. As a parent, I strive to afford her every learning opportunity she craves and expose her to everything I deem beneficial. But in this day and age, everything carries a price tag. I need to grind and save as much money as possible for my daughter. Hence, I put in the hard yards day in, day out. You might presume that I share these burdens with my husband, that we're both employed. Well, that's true. But then why do I feel so desperate? The reason is simple. My husband, Brian, doesn't earn much. He's employed at a generic company that has been struggling in recent years, leading to his salary dwindling. His latest paycheck was less than a third of what I earned. He's far from being a financial rock. Just the other day, after we had put our daughter to bed, he walked up to me with a regretful expression.
I'm sorry. Could you lend me some money?
Money? For what? And I still haven't received this month's household expenses from you.
I'll give you everything next month. I've been invited to a drinking party and some other stuff, and I'm short.
You've burned through your entire month's salary? I can't believe this.
I'm sorry, but I couldn't turn them down.
Lately, he's been coming up with every excuse in the book to avoid providing for the household expenses, and to top it off, he asks me to lend him money. His go-to excuses are drinking parties and sending money to his parents. I'm unsure if he's being honest about where the money goes, but I no longer have the strength to interrogate him. But what would he do if I couldn't lend him the money? I've heard his salary doesn't allow him to save, and his bank account is reportedly barren. That means if he needs money, he has to borrow it from somewhere. Then he'd find himself in debt. I don't want him to fall into debt while our daughter is only 5. I don't want her to think her father is so thoughtless. That's why I always end up lending him money. Okay, is $200 okay for now?
Thank you, Erica. I'll pay you back in full next month.
You've never done that before.
I'm sorry, but I promise I will next month. I'll make sure to turn down invitations to drinking parties.
You better. We have a daughter.
Yeah, I know.
But does he truly comprehend? Even with these doubts, all I could do was sigh. The reason I go to these lengths for him isn't just because I love him. It's because he's a good father to our daughter. On his 2 days off each week, he always makes time for our daughter at least once. This day was no different. When she woke up, he said,
I'll take care of Sarah, so why don't you take a break and go out?
Really? But what about the housework?
We can order in for lunch and I'll handle the chores, well, as best as I can.
Are you sure? Sarah, are you okay with hanging out with Dad? When I asked, my still half-asleep daughter flashed a sweet smile and hugged me tightly.
I'm okay. I can stay at home with Dad.
All right, can I do some shopping then?
Okay. Oh, but don't forget to bring me a souvenir.
Of course. I'll pick up something from your favorite bakery.
Really? Yay! Thank you, Mom.
It always amazes me how well-behaved this 5-year-old is. I'm not overly worried since she's not alone at home, but leaving her with my husband does make me a tad anxious. I slipped my smartphone number into her pouch just in case of emergencies. I've always told her to call me if something happens, so it should be alright. And with that, I ventured out to enjoy some much-needed alone time for the first time in what felt like ages. But even after arriving at the department store, I just couldn't muster the excitement to shop for myself. In the end, I picked up a cute outfit that I knew Sarah would adore and made sure to grab her favorite chocolate croissants. "I'm back!" I called out as I pushed open the front door. Sarah darted towards me, the force of her run sending her straight into my open arms with a huge smile.
Mom, you're back! Did you enjoy shopping?
Yes, sweetheart, I did. It was fun shopping after such a long time. Look, I've got a surprise for you. Your favorite clothes, and I also picked up a chocolate croissant for you. We'll have it tomorrow. By the way, where's Dad?
He's talking to someone on the phone out on the balcony.
On the phone? Sure enough, Brian was out on the balcony, puffing on a cigarette while engaged in a phone conversation. I tapped on the window, causing him to end the call abruptly. He looked startled, explaining in a hurried tone that he didn't realize I was back. "Hi, honey. Who were you talking to?"
It was a business call. Sorry, Sarah was alone for a bit, but it was urgent. My apologies.
He gave a sheepish smile, and our daughter pouted at him, snuggling into me. She began to complain.
Mom, you know what? Dad was on the phone a lot today. He didn't even play with me, even though I asked him.
Is that so?
Yeah, I wanted to read our picture book together.
He couldn't meet my eyes and looked guilty. Afterwards, we ate dinner as a family, gave Sarah a bath, and tried to spend as much quality time together as possible. That evening, as Brian was getting ready for bed, I confronted him. "Brian, what's going on? Are you so swamped with work that you're even working on your days off now?"
Yes, that's exactly it. I've been clocking a lot of overtime recently.
"I've seen you coming home late these past few months. It's not because of your after-work drinks, is it?"
No, I've been telling you it's overtime. Anyway, I made sure Sarah was safe while I was on the call. I apologize for that.
"But she seemed so lonely. Next time, I'll take her out with me. If work is getting busy, give me a heads up in advance."
Sure, I'll do that. I'm off to bed now.
He said goodnight and headed off to the bedroom, carefully cradling his smartphone. For about the last 6 months, for some reason, I've been sharing my bed with Sarah while he sleeps alone in the bedroom. I don't mind sleeping with her, but it does cut down on our time together as a couple. Brian doesn't seem to mind the current setup though. As long as the family is happy, that's all that matters, right? But I'm more than just a mom. I'm also his wife, and I can't help but feel a little lonely not being wanted as a woman. One night, however...
Mom! Hey, Mom! Wake up!
I was jolted awake by the sound of Sarah's urgent voice. I opened my eyes to see her looking anxious. The digital clock on the bedside table read 2 a.m. The house was silent. Brian was obviously asleep. I rubbed my eyes and sat up, asking Sarah, "Oh, what's wrong, sweetheart?"
Mom, please, I'm begging you, divorce Dad right now.
What? I was wide awake now. What did she just say? Divorce Dad? Yes, she definitely said that. Gathering myself, I asked her gently, "Why? Why would you say something like that?
Because if things go on like this, Mom, you're going to die.
Die? What are you talking about? I'm not sick.
No! Dad is going to...
What do you mean, sweetheart? My daughter broke down crying. As I stroked her back soothingly, she began to regain her composure and started speaking slowly.
I woke up because I needed to use the bathroom and I heard Dad talking on the phone in his room.
On the phone? What was he saying?
He was saying something like, make it look like an accident. The insurance money will be all ours. I didn't know what he meant by insurance money, but I knew he was planning to make something bad happen to you.
No. Brian is planning to hurt me?
And Dad told the person on the phone that he loves them. You're supposed to say love to the person you like more than anyone else, right? So why did Dad say that to someone other than you, Mom?
Oh, sweetie. With tears threatening to fall from her eyes, my daughter looked at me again. She's only 5 years old, but actually she's already 5. I had to remind myself of that. She understands more than we give her credit for, and can gauge my emotions from my voice and facial expressions. Perhaps children are even more sensitive to these things than adults. She was likely worried for me in her own way. In that moment, I felt a mix of guilt towards my daughter and anger towards Brian. I felt tears spring to my eyes. Even though she's just a small child, she was doing her best to protect me. I couldn't ignore the courage it must have taken her to tell me this. I had to confront this head on. I looked deep into Sarah's eyes and started speaking. Sarah, I need you to listen carefully to what I'm about to say, okay?
Okay.
If what you just told me is true, Mom can't stay with Dad anymore.
Okay.
I'm going to leave this house. What would you like to do? She was silent, clearly lost in thought. However, following that, she gazed into my eyes and declared,
I want to be with you, Mom.
Are you sure?
Yes, I want Mom. I don't want anyone but Mom.
All right then, let's leave together.
Okay.
I instructed her to gather her belongings. She swiftly filled her backpack with her personal items, making as little noise as possible so as not to alert Dad. She was clearly doing her best to stay undetected. When did she grow up so quickly? The sight of her maturity brought tears to my eyes. To transform our current predicament, I too began to pack. Later, I left my wedding ring on the table and left the house with my daughter. When I rang the doorbell of my parents' home at 5 a.m., my mom appeared in her pajamas.
Erica! And Sarah too? What brought you guys here at this hour?
I'm sorry, Mom. Can we stay with you for a while?
Of course you can, but what happened?
Can we go inside? I also want to talk to Dad. After being led into the living room, I settled my daughter to sleep in the next room. She must have been exhausted because she fell asleep as soon as she laid down. In the living room, a cup of coffee that my mom had made for me awaited. After taking a sip, I slowly began. It seems like Brian is plotting to stage an accident for me. My parents fell silent at this revelation. My dad, visibly shaken, managed to utter,
What? What do you mean? Why would he do something like that?
It seems like he was confessing his love to someone else over the phone. I think he's having an affair.
If he's having an affair, we need evidence.
I thought the same, so I brought his tablet that he commonly uses.
His tablet?
I got the tablet that Brian usually uses at home from my bag. If my suspicions were correct, he wouldn't leave any trace of his messages on his phone. His phone is always left unguarded somewhere around the house. Considering this, he must be using his phone solely for calls and exchanging messages through something else. That's what I believed. The tablet was in the bag that he typically uses. I never use it, so it wasn't locked. While my parents observed, I opened the email folder on the tablet. As anticipated, there were countless exchanges with a woman who seemed to be his mistress.
This is...
My mom uttered with a shaky voice as she pointed at one of the emails. It detailed the plan to cause an accident for me. I took pictures of everything to serve as evidence. There was a printer my dad was using, so I printed out all the exchanged messages. At that moment, my phone, which was in my bag, rang. It was a call from Brian. I answered without hesitation and put it on speaker so my parents could listen.
Hello? Erica, where are you? I woke up to find you two missing. I was quite startled.
Is that all you have to say?
What's up? I was worried.
Worried? You were planning to set me up for an accident and you dare to say that? His tone changed instantly. He must not have anticipated that his scheme had been uncovered. He must have begun conversing with his mistress on the phone while I was sleeping, and yet I knew about his plan. It must have been terrifying for him. He didn't realize that I had a powerful ally in Sarah. Struggling to grasp the situation, I revealed the truth to him. Sarah told me. She told me that you were planning to set me up for an accident.
That's a lie. There's no way.
It's true. To be precise, she informed me about the content of the phone call you had with your mistress. You're planning to cause an accident for me and claim the insurance money. She told me about your plan.
How does she...
So it is true. You were unfaithful to me and you were after my insurance money.
Oh.
He slipped up and fell silent. There was no room for leniency. I'm ashamed to have a piece of trash like you as a husband. I will take responsibility for raising our daughter. You can enjoy your time with your mistress. Don't ever involve us again. I will make sure you regret betraying our family. Before I knew it, I was shouting in anger. I hung up without waiting for his response. My daughter woke up at the sound of my voice.
Mom, what's wrong?
I'm sorry, did I wake you up?
Yeah, but I'm okay. Was that Dad?
It's all over.
Really? Then we can be together forever.
She smiled happily and I nodded. I hugged her as tightly as I could. I later divorced Brian. I was able to claim alimony through a lawyer. Normally, orchestrating an accident deliberately would lead to a police investigation. However, for the sake of my daughter, I didn't want to amplify the issue. I left matters of alimony and child support to my lawyer, intending to have no further dealings with him. He was later disowned by his parents and seemingly discarded by his mistress. I heard he's now living a difficult life on a meager salary, struggling with a monthly alimony and child support payments. On the other hand, I found a new place and began a life with my daughter. She had to switch daycares, but she seems to be enjoying her time there. I know we will face various challenges in the future. Nonetheless, I want to overcome these challenges together with my daughter, my strongest ally.